8 years ago, Kiev announced what it called an anti-terror operation against its then easternmost regions of Donetsk and Lugansk, Ukraine's own regions. The reason? Their disobedience to Kiev's new rulers that came to power after the brutal events known as Euromaidan and the overthrow of the president. Traditionally having close ties with Russia, the area known as Donbas in eastern Ukraine accused Kiev's new authorities of Russophobia and refused to recognize them as a legitimate power. Anti-government protests raged in all major cities in the east. Kiev branded the regions separatists. When the anti-terror operation was declared, I was in Donetsk and for months later traveled all across Donbas. It was a full-scale operation with aviation, tanks, heavy artillery and thousands of boots on the ground involved. While it was supposed to target terrorists, innocent civilians, often elderly and kids, became victims of this bloody mission.
Сволочи, что вы делаете? Мы же ничего не делаем, мы же ничего не хотим. Боже, мы жить хотим, растить детей, внуков.
Мамочку мою убила, папу разорвала, я в больницу отправил, скорую еле дозвонился.
The brutal military operation against its own people burned the bridges, literally and metaphorically, for any peaceful solution between Kiev and the country's east. The tragedy in the Black Sea port of Odessa became the final straw. For 8 years, the slaughter of so many civilians in the Donbas has gone almost completely unnoticed by the international community.
Since April 2014, the Ukrainian side has been shelling residential areas in the two self-proclaimed republics using heavy offensive weapons. At least 5,500 civilians have been injured. More than 2,600 civilians have been killed. More than 2,200 objects of civilian infrastructure were destroyed or damaged.
For 8 long years, Russia called time after time for a peaceful resolution to the conflict, but that plea to Kiev always fell on deaf ears.
Минские договоренности, они были убиты еще задолго до вчерашнего признания народных республик Донбасса. И не нами, не представителями этих республик, а действующими киевскими властями.
Ukraine's current president vowed to finally end the war, but escalations continued and hatred also grew.
Мы не можем быть против русского народа в принципе, потому что это один и тот же народ.
І наше найперше завдання – припинення вогню на Донбасі. Мене часто питали, а на що ви готові заради припинення вогню? Дивне питання. А на що готові ви, українці, заради життя близьких вам людей? На що? Можу запевнити. Задля того, щоб наші герої більше не гинули, я готовий на все.
The republics, backed into a corner, seem to have little choice but ask their big neighbor for protection. But helping them, Russia is also securing its own borders and interests. Moscow says Ukraine's strongly anti-Russia policies and its alarmingly fast militarization posed a serious threat to Russia's own national security, and it was determined to do something about it.
Мы исходим из того, что международное сообщество обязано знать правду. И международное сообщество обязано знать о том, что российская сторона честно и последовательно готова работать за переговорным столом.
50 days on, both sides have lost many lives, both military and civilian, and seem to be close to losing hope for a quick and non-military solution.